What is up, everybody? Sysadmin Sean, and we are on day 9 of the Linux Upskill Challenge. Today, we're going to be diving into some networking education and learning about firewalls. Now, first thing, I feel like this lesson should have happened before day 7 or directly after day 7. The grep lesson in day 8 seems a little weird, but we can also kind of utilize what we learned in the grep lesson to work with this if we want to. So today, mainly we're just going to be learning how to secure the web server we set up with a firewall. The first thing they want us to do is use the ss command and the nmap command to verify the ports are open and see what else is open on the system so that we know what to turn on with the firewall. Now, this is where it will actually deviate a little bit between Ubuntu and Red Hat. Ubuntu uses UFW. Red Hat distro types usually use firewall-d, but I'll show you both of them and we'll kind of go through that. So the first thing I want you to do is do an ss dash, let's do sudo ss dash ltp. And we'll kick off our password. And as you can see, I've got 4096, 511, blah, blah, blah. But we really want to look at these are important, SSH and HTTP. We really need these ports. These are the send queues. This is the local address and the port. Notice it doesn't list the port number. It just lists the service. Now, if we do, I've already installed nmap. A lot of times nmap is not installed. But let's do sudo nmap localhost. So as you can see, 22 is open for SSH and 80 is open for HTTP. Cool beans. Both those commands exactly the same on Ubuntu or Red Hat. So now that we know that, we need to work on our firewall. Now, Linux kernel has a built-in firewall called netfilter. We can query this using the iptables command or the newer nftables command, but a lot of places want to use UFW. Like I said, it's the same firewall on both systems. It's just we use different programs between Ubuntu and Red Hat usually. So if we do sudo iptables-l, that's going to show all of our current setup, which is pretty much just accept. There's not a whole lot of, I don't see a single deny actually. I see some drop, but that's fine. Those are pretty standard, so that's cool. But your system will probably show just emptiness. Let me see if my other one has that. Yeah, it'll look more like this. So that's what we've got to start with. So let's do a sudo apt install UFW. And it's already installed, so they're very cool. And then what we will do is we will run commands to start allowing these services to work via the firewall. Sudo UFW allow SSH. Should get something cool, yep. Sudo UFW deny HTTP. So what that'll do is that will block HTTP requests. So if we do sudo UFW enable, yes. Will we get booted? We didn't get booted. Very cool. So let's look at our IP tables again. And then we should have a reject. Yep. And there's the drop for HTTP traffic. So now our HTTP server won't work, which is kind of good because you really don't want to do anything over HTTP. But let's say we did want to allow that. So let's just do allow real quick. And then let's run the enable command again, because that restarts the service essentially. And if we run iptables again, we have an accept rule here. So very cool. Now let me show you how to do that over here. I believe firewall-cmd is installed. Let's check status. Okay. So firewall-d is loaded, but it is inactive. It is on the system, but it's not turned on. So we should be able to go ahead and do firewall command -- list all zones. This will show all your firewall zones. Okay, we will start it then. Sudo systemctl start firewall-d. I don't think this will boot us, but it could. All right, it didn't. So there we go. We'll list all zones. Oh, we didn't do sudo. So we're looking for the active zone, which is public right here. And as you can see, it has SSH available. It also has cockpit available, which is like a newer Red Hat-ish Linux tool to let you manage the server via web GUI. It's no, don't, no. There's also an internal that can be used, things like that. And you have tons of different sections in the firewall. We won't really go over those here. We'll just kind of go over how to add ports. So we know that our public is active. Our interfaces are attached to it. We need to make sure that those ports are on. So firewall-cmd -- permanent, that makes it stay. Zone equals public, because that's our active. And we want to do add service equals HTTP. We didn't type sudo because I'm used to not doing that and I need to quit. And it should say success. And then if we do firewall-cmd -- reload, sudo, yay. And then if we look at it again, let's do list all zones. We should see, yeah, up here, there's our service. So now port 80 is allowed, and things like that. And notice I did service there. You can also do with firewall-d ports. So you do add -port. Let's pick that because I've had to type that recently. You have to put TCP or UDP if you're doing a port as opposed to a service. So you do that. You do your reload again. And then you list all your zones again, and then it should show up as an actual port. There you go. And of course you can do protocols and masquerades and lots of really in-depth stuff. And it's the same way you would do that pretty much both firewalls. So that's how you do the firewalls. Nice, quick, simple. Maybe they should have combined the day 7 and 9 together. I just feel like getting the firewall put in early is really important on a system, especially if you're managing these boxes. Maybe they need to have public facing access. And maybe you want to be, a little bit more protected other than just your data center firewall and your border firewall. You can also do local firewall, especially to protect if you have multiple VLANs in your network. You don't want every VLAN to be able to access your servers. That should probably be handled at your data center firewall, but just in case, you can parse it down a lot more. You can parse how the ports are available, and you can even set up IP rules. So maybe I wanted to set port 80 on, but I only wanted to do it for certain IP ranges and stuff like that. Those are some really high tech rules that you can do, or, highly technical rules that you can do down the line. But that's it for day 9. Thanks, and we'll see you in day 10.